Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toast Time. If you enjoy Toast Time, pretty please like and subscribe. Thank you. We are making bagels this week. These are going to be New York style bagels. I do live in New York, and I know everybody says that the water here has something special that makes New York bagels how they are, but you can make these anywhere, and they're going to be delicious. So I'm going to start out with talking about toppings really quickly. We like a lot of different toppings. I have sesame seeds and poppy seeds, but I also found this everything seasoning with jalapeno, and I just keep refilling my everything seasoning. So it kind of looks like one of those sand art projects. And I just put all the ingredients in. This is parchment paper. I'm sorry, this is wax paper actually. And I just pour all the ingredients in and leave a little bit of room at the top so it can be mixed together. But I just keep refilling it because it's really easy to make. It's only like 5 ingredients. So I'm gonna do that. And in it goes. So I filled up all the other ingredients already. That was just my last one. But it looks really pretty. And then just mix it up. And you have your everything seasoning ready. So we're not actually going to be using these until tomorrow, but I wanted to have it all out and ready to go. The other one that we're going to try, I've never done this before, this is popcorn topping powder. And I'm going to try a little bit of it on there just to see, because this is cracked pepper Asiago. So it's going to be nice flavor. I hope it won't get weird when it's baked, but we'll see. All right, so the ingredients are pretty simple. I have my flour already in here, and I'm going to put in my water and yeast. Water. And here's the yeast. Okay. Now, I also have my salt, which I have it on the scale because I'm going to put the malt syrup into it, but I'm going to put the salt on here. And then I'm going to make like a little divot in it with the bottom of this cup here and kind of bring it up the sides. And this is going to make it so that I can get the malt syrup out really easily. So I need 20 grams of it. And it's been in the fridge, so it's probably going to take me a minute to get it. If I can get it open. There it goes. Okay. Now it has a really strong flavor, but we don't use too much of it, so it just adds a nice kind of earthiness to the bagel. All right. I'm going to just put it right in the middle of the salt so that it's not touching the sides at all. Okay. Clean that up later. All right, so now you can see how easily this is really sticky. You can see how sticky it is. But the salt is going to make it so it just slides right out. I love that trick. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the ingredients. I'm going to put it onto the mixer, and it's going to go for about 10 minutes, and I'll show you what the result is once it's been kneading for that amount of time. All right, so I tidied up the workspace and while this was on the mixer, and wanted to show you how nice this dough is. So let me get it out of here. Okay. So it's really elastic and soft, but it still is going to hold a great shape for us. And right now, all we have to do is put it into a glass bowl to rise. Now, with this dough, you want it to rise 50%. So that's why I have it in the mixing bowl, so you can kind of see it a little bit better. But I'm going to kind of roll it up like this. Not too tightly. I'll kind of smush it down. But I want to be able to see where it is in the mixing bowl. So let's see here. I do that. It's about 5 cups. So I want it to be about 7.5. So here's my 7 cup, and then here's my 8 cup. So 7.5. I want it to rise to about there. It's not exact, but it gives you a better idea than if you just put it in a regular bowl. I'm going to put shower cap on it and then put it in the proving oven. Now, this could take, about an hour and a half or so, depending on how warm your house is. But I'm going to put it in the proving oven to kind of help maybe speed it up just a little bit. And I have it set for 1 hour, and I'll check it at that point. So get that going. And then I'm going to talk about the pans that we need for shaping and all of that. So they need to be able to fit in your fridge. So that will kind of determine what size you're using for this. This is going to make 1 dozen bagels. So I have 2 of them, and I put down parchment unbleached squares, and I have 6 on each tray. So I'm going to put those down, give each one a little spray, just a quick spray. It doesn't make a huge difference, but when these will go in the fridge overnight and rise, and then when you take them out, you want to have it really easy to put it into the boiling water when it's time. So just a little spritz on each one, and it'll help it to do what it needs to. All right, and then this little trick, these guys that I use all the time, and I'm going to put them here and here. So this way, it's not going to take up all of this space in the fridge. I'm going to be able to stack it, and they'll rise, but I've never had an issue with them rising so much that they touch this one. So it gives you a nice little packet here of dough. So I'm going to just wait for that to rise, and then we'll go through the shaping process. All right, so this is done rising now, and I'll show you. It's at about 7.5. So I'm going to take this out, and we'll do our shaping. I'm going to put it on my counter. I haven't put any flour or anything down. It's not a very sticky dough. It's soft, but not sticky. So it'll be okay on the counter. Do that. All right. I'm going to punch out the air. I'm going to use the palm of my hand, heel of my hand, and I'm going to just press it out. And I want to make a dozen. So I had calculated this at about 4 ounces. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my scale. And I don't have to be really exact on this, but I do want to be close so that they cook evenly as well. So I'm going to just take it and twist it. 4.4, close. All right, 4.1. So I'm going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is for each of these, I'm going to take it and kind of smush it around so that it's tighter up top. And keep doing that. Turn it 90 degrees, do it again. So I have this kind of, it's going to look like kind of a teardrop a little bit. But then I'm going to put this side that is pinched together, I'm going to put it on the counter. And I'm going to cup my hand like this and just kind of pull it towards one side. So it's creating tension on the top. So you can do it like this, and you can just turn it 90 degrees, or once you feel comfortable with that, you can kind of create a circle action there, like that. And then you have a nice tight ball of dough. Ta-da! So you want to do that for each of them. And we're going to let them rest for 5 minutes so that the gluten can relax. And then we'll do our shaping process. So need another 4 ounces. And I just put the wax paper down so that it's not directly on the scale. I keep it clean, but it's also nice to just kind of have it covered. Around, around, around. And that's my bowl. All right, only 10 more to go. All right, so I tidied up the workspace here. And now I have my 12 balls of dough that have been resting for just over 5 minutes. And I'm going to start, I kept them in order, so these ones will hopefully get as much resting time as the first ones. So when I work on these ones are still resting. Okay, so we have this ball of dough, and I'm going to put my finger right down the middle of it. And it's already a cute little bagel shape now. But then I'm going to pull it apart, and I'm kind of just going to open up that middle. There are a few different ways that you can do shaping. This one is my favorite. I just like how it looks at the end. So when I do this, it has a big hole, and that's fine. I'm going to lay it back down, and then I'll come back to it and do it one more time because it will kind of close up a bit. So again, just going to pinch through the middle. Yes. Now, the thing with this one is sometimes you'll get uneven areas where part of it's a little bit thicker than the other, and you can kind of work that out as you go. Put this one up here. Okay, and it's going to keep going down the line. This part's pretty quick. You can roll it into a rope and then kind of a long rope, and then put those two ends together and roll it so it sticks together. Again, I'm just more a fan of this method here. I'm going to keep going. And I can see you, honey. Yes. It's okay, sweetie pie. All right, so I finished shaping all of these, and now I've let them rest, and I'll show you what it looks like after a few minutes of resting. It looks like a bagel. So I'm going to just open up this a little bit more, not like I did before, just a little bit, because it will come together again. And then I'm going to take the one tray that I have with the metal on it. And if you have enough space, you can put them on the four corners. This one doesn't happen to have enough space. So I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to lay it down on one of those parchment sheets. All right, and just keep going. I'm going to grab the next one, and it looks really good. Just kind of extend it a little bit more and lay it down. And each one gets its own parchment because that's how we're going to lay them into the water when we boil them. Okay. 4, 5, and 6. And then after I have that, I'm going to take the other tray. Make sure these aren't touching anything else, like the metal cups. Put the other tray on top and do it all again. You'll see opening it up again just a little bit really helps to maintain that hole. Otherwise, it kind of comes together. And that's a lot of fun if you're doing toppings and stuff because they kind of settle in there. But this is for a more traditional bagel. And if you want it closed up, that's fine too, because that's really good for sandwiches. And you have more kind of a roll, but with a bagel consistency and flavor. So it's really what you want to use them for. I'm going more for a bagel here. So I'd already cut this one, and now it's sticking. What I'm going to do is stretch it out, and then I'm going to spray saran wrap so that it doesn't stick to the tops of the bagels when they rise. But we do want it covered because if air gets in, it's going to make these harder. It's going to actually dry it out, so we don't want that to happen either. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of guess where it's going to be touching. I don't want to do the whole thing because then I'm going to be dealing with cooking spray on the sides and bottoms of the baking. So I'm going to do it right here. And hopefully I'm right. I'm going to lay it down on top. We don't want this tight because we want them to be able to rise. So we want to give it some play as well. I'll kind of give it a little bit of leeway there. And I'm going to tuck this under on all four sides and then put it in the fridge. So that will go overnight. You can do up to 24 hours if you want. I'm probably going to do this early morning, mid-morning, because, well, first of all, I want them, and second of all, that's how my schedule fits. So it's nice you can kind of gauge this. It's not all right, after 4 hours, you have to get it done. So I'm going to wrap this around down the sides. Again, making sure that there's some play there with it. And then this side down underneath. And some people do individual wraps. You can on each tray. I try to do it on one just because it's less waste of saran wrap and it's easier to carry. So that's that. I'm going to put it in the fridge and I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. So these have been resting in the fridge overnight. It's been, I guess, about 16 hours. I know it says like 18 to 24, but I think that they have proven enough, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. They have to come out of the fridge and warm up just a little bit, so I wanted to do this right now and show you how pretty they look. And see how easily that came off, and that's why we spray it. And there's the oven preheated. So this is what we look like now with these. They've risen quite a bit. They're puffy, and the fridge has kind of made them a little more firm, so it's going to be easier to work with. But I do want to take these apart so that they can warm up. I have this one here, and I have my second one. I'll take the metal cups out. Yeah, it's really nice. Okay. So while these are getting up to about 60 degrees, and I have my thermometer here, and I'll be able to, once they warm up a bit, I'll poke it into one of them and test the temperature. But I have water boiling, and so this has been sitting for a while, but I had the salt under here and the malt syrup. I'm going to put it into the water so it can dissolve. Water has been boiling, and it's sticking a little bit because it's been sitting there and it kind of went past the salt barrier. But that's okay. Put it in, and we'll mix it up. Now, if you like somewhat of a kind of pretzel consistency with your bagels, you can add a little bit, maybe 2 teaspoons or so of baking soda, and that'll give you that pretzel exterior. I'm not going to do that today. I just kind of want normal bagels. So I just have the salt and the malt syrup. Get this back up to a boil. You want to make sure the water is pretty hot. You want to have it at a full boil and then turn it down for when you put in the bagels, because when you put them in, it's going to cool it down. But you always want to have a little bit of movement in the water. So not a rolling boil, not quite a simmer. You just want it to be moving a little bit. So I'm going to let that finish dissolving. And I also have 2 different things that I can use to, you're going to put them in, let them cook, flip them over and let them cook, and then take them out. So there are 2 different options. There's the spider strainer or the skimmer, and it's nice. The shape is really good for this. I usually end up using this. These are a little bit bigger than I normally make, so I might actually go with the spider strainer, but this works really well too. But the thing is, it's only about that big, so it starts going up on the sides, and you don't want to compromise the shape of the bagel by squashing it. So I'm going to let these warm up, and oven is preheated to 450. The water is ready. So as soon as these get up to temp, then we'll start baking. All right, we are all set to go. So I have the spider strainer, and I have the slightly warmed up bagels, the dough here. And the water is just moving around a little bit, so that's perfect. And this right here is why we use parchment paper underneath. Nice and easy lift. And then I'm going to just put it into the water and take this away. So I'm going to do 3 at a time. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 seconds. Sure, 30 seconds. And we're starting now. All right, there's the first three. We do 30 seconds on one side, flip it, 30 seconds on the other side, and then when we take it out and put it on our prepared tray, I grabbed one of the larger ones because this doesn't have to fit in the fridge anymore. So I'm going to put them on here because they will hopefully rise up a bit as they bake. Then when they go on here, then we can put the toppings on. That was a quick 30 seconds. Stop. I flip them over. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 seconds. All right, 30 seconds. Starting now. All right, so I'm going to start with one of these, and sesame for my first three here. And you want to use the moisture from when you have it in the water to have this stick to it. So we're going to put it on and very quickly put the toppings on. That's why I have them all set and ready here. There we go. Stop. And give it a little dunk to make sure that the top still has some liquid on it. Strain it and put it on. All right. So the popcorn seasoning one is an experiment, so I'm only going to do one of that. But we'll see. Now the flavor is probably going to be pretty strong. But I want to put an even coating on this one. All right. And I'm going to do some everything. Now with these ones, the bigger ingredients, you want to very gently, because you don't want to take the air out of it, but you want to press them down a little bit. I did also spray this baking sheet with just a really, really thin layer of nonstick spray, just to be safe. But I didn't want to put a sill pad or anything down because I want a really crispy bottom to it, and having it right on the metal really helps with that. This one's my husband's favorite. And the kids requested everything and poppy seed. So I have a little bit of all of it, and I'll do a couple plain as well. Okay, so let's put the other three in for this batch, and then they go in the oven. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 seconds. Sure, 30 seconds. And we're starting now. Stop. All right, now I'm going to flip them over. Nice color from the malt syrup on here. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 seconds. All right, 30 seconds. Starting now. This out of the way. Stop. All right, slide this over. There we go. Okay. I'm going to take them out. And they get nice and puffy in the water, but they do deflate a bit when they come out onto the pan. and that's fine because the inside isn't baked, so that's okay. It should puff up when we put it in the oven. Okay, and there's 3. And we'll get the toppings on there. So this is only half of the dough. This was making a dozen donuts. So while these are in the oven, after we rotate them, then I'll start prepping for the other batch. But we don't want to have them out too long. Some people do. It just makes me nervous. But if you're comfortable with that, go right ahead and get them done. You know what? I'm going to leave that last one as a plain one. Make sure we get it along the sides. You can also take these and dunk them. I get nervous that it's going to take the air out, so I do sprinkle it. But you want to be careful of how much you get on the baking pan because they could scorch, especially certain things like the minced garlic and the minced onion. All right, so these are going to go into the oven for 10 minutes, rotate, and then another 10. So this is the first batch and it's out and has been cooling. So I wanted to show right here you have so many little micro bubbles on the surface, and this is what I really like, and they kind of pop when you get a good one. See if I can, oh, you can hear maybe if I do this, has a nice crunch, crispy outside. And let's see which one, do the poppy seed. You also see on the side here, you have a lot of bubbles and browning, and the bottom is nice and toasty because I didn't put the sill pad or anything underneath it. There we go. Let's see what the inside looks like. I want to get that. I'm going to turn it over. There we go. It's an uneven cut. That's okay. Okay. Moment of truth. Nice. There's some air bubbles in it, and let's see texture. Oh, that's wonderful. It smushes, but it comes right back. All right, give it a try. Oh, most of the poppy seeds came off. All right. You want to try it? Here you go. All right. Nice malt syrup flavor. It's really coming through on this batch. Yeah, it's really good. The outside is crispy, inside is soft and tender. I have some cream cheese that's softening, so I'm going to try that in a few minutes on here. But this is great. I'm really happy with this batch. So there's kind of a cross section there. Yeah. Thank you for joining me for Toast Time, and I hope that you try making some bagels, and I'll see you next time.